Hello there everyone and welcome to a new review on the channel. And today we will be looking at a bit of an older release, but one that is very, very good. And that is Compass by Relish and the 1914. It's a very interesting product that I feel that if you're into mentalism, you're going to really enjoy. So let's roll the intro and get straight into it. Perfect, so you decide to stick around, which means you want to learn more about Compass. So what is Compass? Compass is essentially a system that will allow you to do kind of psychometry routines or know what spectator wrote what. So the main routine of this is, I can't really perform it because I don't have 4 spectators, but I will give you a mock presentation of it. You would present here 4 cards to your spectators that you tell them have a quadrant and a line. And what this is that you're going to ask each one of them, you're going to give them one of each, to draw a drawing in the quadrant and then write what the drawing is in case we don't understand. If it's such a bad drawing that we don't understand, that they write down what their drawing is. So then the spectators are going to do that while your back is turned. They're going to take back these cards. They're going to shuffle them. And when all the cards are shuffled, just like this, and they place them on the table, they ask you to turn around. So they say, okay, perfect. So they say, look, what we're going to do now is going to be interesting. I'm going to try and base myself on your writing, but also on your drawing skills. But first, can you see this? Is it face up, like standing up? Perfect. Look, we're going to take one of these and we're going to place it right here because we're going to come back to it in a moment. So we're going to leave that right there. But now we're going to take this one here. So then you proceed to look at the drawing and the writing. You give a reading and you say, I think this belongs to you. So you give it to the second spectator, you're correct. You take the next one, you're like, okay. You give your reading, you say, I think this one belongs to you. They would say, correct. You take this one, and you're like, okay. You give your reading, I say this one belongs to you. So spectator number 4. So then you're like, okay. Spectator number 3, you're the one missing. So now it wouldn't be very interesting to tell you, oh, your card is the one in the wallet, right? But I do want to try something different with you. I want to try and, instead of reading your kind of what you drew and the way that you wrote, I want to actually read you as a person. And what I have here are 3 exact questions. So what I have here are these sets of questions here. So the first question is, are you right or left-handed? They answer. So you do a comment. Do you like salty or sweet? They answer and you give a comment. Do you play any instrument? They give an answer. And you say, okay, so based on these 3 answers, it tells me that you give a reading, you most likely drew a plane. Is that what you drew? You drew a plane? They're going to say yes. You then proceed to take this out. You look at it, you say, oh, exactly, a plane. So that would belong to you. So that is a quick performance of essentially of Compass. So that's how Compass would look like if you get the chance to do a performance like this to 4 spectators. It would look exactly like that. So now that we know what Compass is, let's talk about where you buy this, how much does it cost, and what do you get. So you can get this from the 1914. It's going to cost you £20, which is around, I believe, 25 USD and around 30-ish Canadian dollars. And what you get is twofold. You're going to get first an hour-long video. So it's, of course, as with the 1914, it's separating different categories, but an hour-long video with Relish, where she's going to explain to you how to make this, the thinking behind it, how to make yourself a gimmick in which you can make the process of making these cards, again, super fast. It takes you maybe 2 minutes to make a set of 4 cards. So it's really not that long for the first time, but once you have that gimmick ready, it's probably going to take you 30 seconds to make a set of 4 cards. Then he's going to give you routines, ideas, thinking behind it, and he's going to give you a ton of additional ideas within the PDF, which is accompanied as well. Of course, you're not provided with billets, so if you do want to do this, buy yourself some billets, either the 1914 one or any billets that you want, because you're going to need billets in order to do this. Or you can do this with blank cards, it works as well. Anything where you can write, where you can do the method, you can do it, okay? So now let's talk about difficulty. So how difficult is this to perform? This is incredibly easy to perform. If you have something like the Orphic, then it's going to make it even more devious because you can do the part with the questions, right? So you can just, by removing that, seemingly it's impossible for you to know what they wrote, But of course, because you know the Orphic is a peak wallet, as you remove this, you immediately know what they wrote. If you do not want to use a wallet, you can still do it with a peak by Andy Nyman, which I also really love. I won't do the peak on camera because on camera it's very transparent how it works. But if you do have, I reviewed it not long ago, the Andy Nyman, I forgot the name, Get Nyman. If you have Get Nyman, you're going to know what peak I'm talking about. You can use that peak as well. But Rich Relish is going to give you a ton of options to do it if you don't want to use a peak wallet. But his preferred option is that because it works well within the entire framing of the effect. And I agree because that's how I perform this effect. But relatively difficulty-wise, it is very, very easy. And even making the cards is very, very easy. And once you know the method behind it, you can make them on the fly. Yes, he says that he prefers to make it with the template gimmick that he teaches you how to construct. But I feel that if you're on the fly, you can make this look as nice by hand as well. If you know you're on the fly and you want to do this and you have no cards prepared, you can do this impromptu as well. In my opinion, I think you can get with it pretty easily. Now let's talk about practicality. So how practical is this effect? So all you're going to need for this is four billets. So for the bare bones effect, 4 billets. If you want to do the more elaborate one, you're going to need a question card and a peak wallet. But if you just want to do the main effect, you can just use 4 billets. This can also be applied, as I mentioned, you can also do this for 2 people. So you can do this for 2 spectators with 2 billets. You can do this for 3 spectators with 3 billets. You can do it for 4 spectators with 4 billets, but you can also do it with 1 spectator with 4 billets. So you ask him, I want you to draw something meaningful to you on 1 card, and then 3 things that you hate on the other 3 cards, and then you proceed to kind of dwindle down what they like, what they didn't like through the process, right? So you can do it like that as well if you want. So overall, you don't necessarily need 4 billets, but it's the best way to perform it, in my opinion. So practicality wise, you're going to just need to carry that and some pens, or a pen, depending on how many people you do it for. Considering that now, what are the angles? The angles of this are pretty much 360. So depending on the peak and the method that you use to extract the last piece of information, it's from 180 to 360. Inspectability, everything can be inspected. This can be given out as souvenirs. There's nothing really problematic with that. In terms of reset, you just have to take out 4 other cards that are prepared. If you do not have them prepared, it's probably going to take you 30 seconds at an event just to remake them. It's really no biggie. You just do them quickly. So the reset is going to be like 30 seconds. But if you have them prepared, if you want, you can just have a full stack of these prepared. That's what he says. He has a full stack and he just has 4. So every performance he knows when he takes 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, from the stack, they're going to work completely well. And yeah, regarding practicality, that's pretty much all we have to say. It's very good in that sense. Now let's talk about where to perform. So where would you perform this? This can be performed pretty much anywhere. You can do this on stage, you can do this parlor, you can do this cabaret, you can do this close up as well. Of course, you cannot do this virtually, but anywhere where you can do this in person, this can be achieved as long as you have 1 to 4 spectators, you can achieve this effect. So having said all this, let's get into the positives and negatives of Compass. So what are the negatives? There really are not many negatives. This is a very interesting way of doing this effect. So negative wise, I think the only thing that I can tell you negative wise is for the best outcome and for the best routine, I think you do need 4 spectators and an Orphic or a peak wallet. I think that makes the routine the best it can play. And that's really the only negative is there's not really. I don't feel there's any perfect product. Maybe you find some negatives that I didn't. But to me, I think that's the only thing is that if you don't have necessarily 4 spectators and a peak wallet, the effect is still going to be great, but it's not going to be the best it could be. That's, I think, the only negative that I could say. In terms of positives, 1, the instructions are very clear, the ideas are clear, everything is super well explained. It's something that once you know it, you're never going to forget it. You can apply it to a ton of other things as well. So that's a benefit as well. I really like when you can take a system and apply it to other stuff as well. It's very great. It's very malleable in the way that you can perform. You can do it from 1 to 4 spectators. You can even do this up to 8 spectators if you want. So he teaches you that as well. If you're keen, you can even do this up to 10. Like if you know a bit of this other systems that are similar, you can even up it even more. It's relatively easy to do, it can be performed pretty much anywhere, and it's very practical as well. That's pretty much all I have to say about Compass. Would I recommend Compass? I think yes, I think it's a system that is something that you're going to want to use and that you are going to use. I think it's very fun, I think it's very interesting, and I think it's very smart. And yeah, that's everything I have to say regarding that. I do recommend it, so if you're in mentalism, I do heavily recommend this. And what do I rate it out of 10? I'm rating Compass by Rich Relish and the 1914 a 9 on 10. It is very, very good. So that's all I have to say about this. If you have any questions or comments, as always, leave them down below. I do my best to interact or answer to them. If not, like and subscribe. And as always, I'll see you all in my next video. Have a great one, and bye-bye.